your project has a certain number of narratives available to it that it can rotate through, and then it captures those users that it reaches. So, I mean, Hex's narrative is goddamn fabulous. 352x up first year, up currently like 12x or 10x versus Bitcoin, or maybe 20x, I can't remember. And then probably 20x, I think. And then pays 40% interest per year. And by the way, that's before USD appreciation. So if the price doubles, you got 80%. The price triples, you got, 200, well, whatever, 120%. You get the idea. Imagine what so you got, if you made, so let's say the price is up 100x right now, but you got a double on your stack, or at least a 30% on your stack just from big payday. That's a lot of free ass money, man. So your stack went up 30%, and you made interest, and the value of the interest you got and your principal all went up 100x. So you're up 130x, 135x, 140x when you account for the extra coins you got, which aren't on the chart. So that's the one thing that sucks about Hex. There's the one thing that sucks about Hex. When you look at the price chart isn't showing you how rich people are getting from being stakers. It's only showing you how rich people are getting from not staking, if you didn't stake at all. So that amazing 354x performance, that does not include the fucking gains that you got from being staked, which is the whole idea. So it's underselling the performance. Another thing we have is a share price chart. Share price chart's goddamn amazing. Share price only goes up. It's how we simulate compounding interest. It gets harder and harder and harder for new guys to compete against you, to dilute you for those rewards. So if you bought your shares early, you got the lowest possible share price you'll ever get. And it will only go up in Hex terms versus the dollar, that's going to float with the exchange rate. So that price chart just looks damn fabulous, because that price chart also includes how much you received as a staker. So the price chart, normal price chart, doesn't show you the gains you get as a staker, but the share price chart does, because the share price chart ratchets up based on people's gains. So we could still even show a better one. Like in theory, we could show a chart of, on this day, this person was the person that had the highest equity increase. And then we could just track, look at this fucking guy, look how well he's doing, and then show that guy's paper gains. And then it would be like, he got, on the big payday, he got 100% on his coins because he had a 10-year stake or longer. So he doubled his stack on that day, and then his stack's up 100x. So he's really up 200x. And then, right? So I could actually, and I should really work on being even more accurate displaying the gains that people are getting in Hex, because the price chart on own, it's not fucking doing it. Price chart on own shows big payday, everyone got fucked by a big price dip. But in reality, they got fucked a lot less on that dip that everyone expected, because they got a huge shitload of new coins. But you can't see that on the chart. Every single staker, and 90% of coins were staked for that day, got in between a 30% and 100% payout on that day. And you don't see that in the chart. So the share price chart is really, and by the way, you could wrap Hex stakes on layer 1 and sell shares in them on layer 2. So that's what Grayscale does. Grayscale wraps Bitcoin in their corporate structure bullshit and then sells shares of it on the OTC market. That's what they do. And so you could do the same thing with Hex, where you take a layer 1 stake at 5,555 days, which is maximum yield you can get in Hex terms. And then you don't have to restake it when it expires. You could max out the yield at a 10-year stake, but then when it expires, you've got to restake it at a shittier rate with a higher share price, because the share price only goes up. So if you care about long-term gains, a 5555 day, a Quattro Cinco stake is the best yield you can get long-term in Hex terms. And then sell shares in that, and then you could do that on layer 2. You could do that on Cardano. You could do it on EOS. You could do it on all the different networks, just like Tether does. So Tether, they're just like, all right, we're going to have Tether on other networks, because it's just a centralized fake crypto anyway. There's no real crypto there. They can just turn off everyone's coins. They can be like, fuck you guys, we deactivated all our coins. They can do that. Tether literally has a function that's called the fuck you function. It's not called the fuck you function, but basically they can just turn off your coins. Your coins won't work anymore. They can also not redeem them as well. So they can make it so you can't transfer them, and they can also not redeem them, both. So like, but they launch on multiple networks. So encapsulated hex stakes could trade on multiple networks, get the advantages of on-ramping people from those ecosystems, get the advantages of layer 2, more affordable order execution, and get the advantages of locking up more hex for longer. Because now, whereas some people might be fearful, so our average stake length is 5 years, some people might be fearful to open up a 15-year stake. But this encapsulated stake wouldn't be fearful to open up a 15-year stake, because we see this already with Grayscale. So Grayscale has no right of redemption. When you buy Grayscale stock, you cannot turn your money in your Grayscale stock into actual crypto. It's not allowed. So what do you really have? You have a greater fool game. You're like, okay, well, I hope someone pays more for this thing, because it's kind of tied to Bitcoin, I guess, even though I can't actually turn it into Bitcoin. And then everyone's fine with it. You're like, all right, well, if everyone's fine with that, then we're doing I think that we should do the encapsulated 15-year stakes, because you're going to end up with more 15-year stakes in the ecosystem. And that just means that the layer 1 price should benefit from that. So if the analogy holds, if my analogy as to the way that Grayscale's acquisition of Bitcoin, buying it and never selling it, has helped the Bitcoin price, and I do think that it has, then I also believe that a nearly identical system that purchased and staked hex for long as fuck and sold shares in the stakes, T-shares, it sold the T-shares, right? So you'd have they're like bonds. This is how many T-shares you got, and this is how long you got them for. There you go. So you're going to have an expiration date, and you're going to have, but I mean, really, the expiration date is going to be pretty far out there, right? So really just going to kind of have T-shares. It should be interesting. Like, the code's already
Would you do it again? Like, is there anything stopping you doing a Hex 2?
Yeah, I don't want to hurt the Hex 1 price. I could just iterate and do the same thing over 100 times. I'd be like, hey guys, we're having Hex 2. We're having Hex 3. We're having Hex 4. Look, it's Hex 5 is here. But I don't believe in that. I believe in Hex, and I want Hex to do well.
So what's this Hex Cash I see on CoinMarketCap?
It's some fake thing that I think even existed before Hex did. It's just some stupid coin that doesn't do anything. Like, it's not, it ain't got shit to do with Hex. It literally has nothing to do with Hex. It just has a similar name. That's it.
Yeah, because when I was looking it up today, I'm like, am I behind the times?
I think it might have been some like medical care play or some shit, like a medical care ICO or something, if I remember off the top of my head. But like, it has no relationship to Hex whatsoever. There's only one Hex.
So help us out, Richard. We've spoken a lot about the coins that won't work, the strengths and weaknesses if they're only of Hex.
Well, I mean, the weaknesses, I can give you weaknesses if you want them.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I mean, the fees are higher than they used to be, but that's the bear market. Layer 2 solves that. Encapsulated stake solves that. Bear market solves that in Ethereum bear market. And it's still cheaper than Bitcoin. So if you're comparing yourself to Bitcoin, we're more secure, faster, higher throughput, better price performative, more features, better community, better logo. You're just like, yeah, it's just about everything better except liquidity. Okay, now who needs liquidity? You trying to buy 100 million? No. Okay, you trying to buy 10 million? No. Trying to buy 1 million? No. You don't need liquidity. So stop talking about it. What you need is enough liquidity so you don't get that much slippage. Okay, you want to buy 100 grand? No problem. You're not going to get much slippage. So, the point of maximum opportunity is when liquidity is the lowest. And if you give people extra liquidity to give them cheaper coins now so they don't have to pay as much, they then hurt the price later with those cheap coins they got. So Hex was too liquid in the beginning. Hex had too much liquidity. And then people got cheaper coins. And then when those guys get out, someone's got to take their position for the price to be where it was, So like, it's better to have thicker order books on the bid side, thinner order books on the sell side, and then buyers move the price up, and then sellers don't move the price down as much. And Hex has that currently. If you look at the order books that are static, the ones that you can set limit orders in, there's a shitload more buy pressure than there is sell pressure. So.
And outside of Hex, what should we be investing in? I mean, we got Hex, Ethereum, and Bitcoin.
Look, I mean, Ethereum. Like, bro, if it's the top, is this where you start getting in?
Yeah.
I mean, look, man. So you're buying after Ethereum's 22x, yeah? That's when you're going to buy. You're going to buy the after the 22x.
But beyond entering.
Okay, I guess you can do that, or you can fucking wait.
Out there? Is there anything else out there that is appealing to you at all? Like, are
Like,
you
bro, if
investing
it's
in
the
any?
top, it's going to be the top in everything except a couple rare things, like maybe Hex.
Yeah.
But really, everything else is going to dump, man. Why would, like, hey, everything that pumped with Bitcoin and everything that pumped with ETH is likely to dump when they dump. That's just how the markets go, man. And by the way, if equities dumps, crypto's dumping. And if they raise inflation rates, equities are going to dump. So basically, the Fed can hurt the crypto price whenever they want.
I'm still going to squeeze it out of you, Richard. We've got these 3 coins. We're excusing when we're going to.
I think
enter these
Bitcoin's a
markets.
piece of shit. I would be much happier taking
So
the
now we're
double
down
the returns on Ethereum than Bitcoin.
Hex and Ethereum are really the only 2 out of the entire market that you like.
If you're coming into a bear market, I only like Hex. If we're not at the bear market yet and we get to fuck around for a couple months, or maybe, hey, we just blow out everyone's expectations and we just keep going up with irrational exuberance for a fucking year because, hey, why not? Okay, fine. If that's what we're doing, fine. It's not a fractal of the past. The past didn't do that shit. We had 40% dips, now we don't. Oh, that's weird. Okay. So that's the other thing that scares me is like, all right, we went up with no dips. It probably means we can go down with no rips. Like it means that like the market structure is different. So all the fractals aren't holding, you know? So we could go up for longer, or we could dump from here, or, you know, like it's, you got to look at it from a Pareto principle. It's like, who hasn't heard about this shit yet that's going to buy a big bag? Okay, we got Elon, we got Mark Cuban, we got the other Shark Tank dude, we got fucking Sailor taking loans apparently to get some extra exposure. We got fucking, you know, all right, well, like, who's left to follow up with these dudes? You kind of run out of big names. You're like, either I don't understand the market and there's just all these other huge names that just no one hears about and they're just going to buy huge bags.
Well, I guess we're just waiting for Gates, Buffett, and Munger.
I think Buffett will die before he buys. Die before buy. I think Munger is going to die before buy. I think Gates is going to die before buy. So you're not getting them dudes. So you could hope for some sovereign people to jump in, like, hey, maybe Norway can jump in with their sovereign wealth fund or some shit. That's like the only guys I can think of to follow up to help pump this shit. And then you are going to get 5 billion or 8 billion of Gox coins. You're going to get that. Who the fuck knows when? But when that market, man, when that news comes out, Bitcoin price is fucked. It's fucked. So you saw what Michael Saylor and Grayscale could do buying 3 billion worth. Wait till you see what 8 billion a sell can do. Now maybe some people hold, maybe I'll get 4 billion sell, and maybe there's some side OTC shit. Maybe it's only 2 billion net sell or whatever, but like, people think crypto price can't go down. So once the price goes up for a year straight and just is making new all-time highs all the time, doesn't even have a single 40% dip, people think this shit can only go up. That's what they think. They're gonna learn. They're gonna learn. Crypto can go down, and it can go up higher than you think, and it could go down lower than you think. So I believe in a dip. Hey, we went up with no big 40% dips. Cool, that's great. My paper net worth is looking fabulous, but I believe in a dip, man. So look,
what stable?
I'm already thinking when I'm making tweets, like, okay, after the dip happens, am I going to be able to brag like a motherfucker about this particular tweet? Because when everyone's on their fucking knees selling the bottom, I'll be like, hey guys, remember when I told you about this shit? I told you not to buy them NFTs, remember? I told you not to spend 100,000 on JPEGs, remember? Yeah, remember? Now I'm going to remind you. I'm going to shove this in your face. Yeah, I know you shouldn't add insult to injury, but fuck you. I tried to save you and you said no. So, you know.
Is
like,
USDC your coin of choice for a stable coin?
Here's the issue. USDC can just turn your shit off whenever they want. But that would blow out their business model and they would lose tons of money doing that. So I think they've only done it once or twice due to court orders. So it seems like a low risk point for people that aren't committing crimes. If you're not committing crimes, probably USDC ain't gonna fuck you. I do think that they are the best counterparty. So if I, Tether, they're getting sued left and right, covered up lost funds before. I'm not cool with that shit. You read them chat logs look a little funky. So I'm like, nope, I'm not cool with that. So I would definitely trust USDC's counterparty risk and banking relationships in the fucking United States over all the third world bullshit. Because even if Tether plays legit as possible, let's say Tether is legit as could possibly be, we've seen banks straight jack them before. And who are their banking partners? They banking with Silvergate Bank in the U.S. They banking with Silicon Valley Bank. Who are they banking with? Now they're banking with some people in the third world. Okay, well, I've lived in the third world, and I lost a lot of money there, and I know how it goes. The third world is the third world for a reason. It's not the first world. So shit does not work well over there, and you can get fucked up. So the banks that they're working with could just be like, oh, you want to let your customers redeem? Nah, we're just not going to let that happen. Sorry. And what are they going to do? Cry, complain to the third world judge? So, I would choose USDC over Tether in a fucking heartbeat. And I would choose some exposure to DAI as well because it is more federated, kind of decentralized. But the problem with DAI is that they made it multi-collateral, and now you can use Tether to mint DAI. And you're like,